I go on to the lessons learned. So please stay on if you'd like to be a part of it. I mean, it's really been beneficial. A lot of great input from other people. So, Glennis, I'm going to have you start off the meeting with lessons learned. You're muted. You're muted, Glennis.
I got it. One of the reasons we wanted to do the lessons learned or we want to do success stories, and one of the reasons we want to do that is because what we do is so hard on a regular basis, and we see a lot of death, we see a lot of pain, we see a lot of sorrow. And one of the things that we do that every day, but we don't always talk about our success stories. In the last meeting we had, there was a who was it, Catherine, that was on and was telling us a story about one of those former clients that lived in his house and what a wonderful, the one that ate the peanut butter off the knife.
Oh,
Um,
that was Jason.
Oh,
Jason was telling us about it. And he had such a wonderful success story with that particular client that he was talking about. And it gave me goosebumps when he was sharing about it. And we just don't talk about the happy stuff enough because we're so always surrounded every day by crisis. So we wanted to start this one off with some of the success stories that keep us coming. What are the things that keep us coming to do this work and what gets us through the next day? Because it's very difficult. You guys all have such a challenging job. And I just want you to know that I recognize that and I know how hard I would tell my other staff in outpatient residential treatment and every other program we had is you don't have a tough job until you work in recovery housing. Recovery housing is one of the toughest jobs there is when it comes to SUD. So I recognize that with you guys, and I want you to know that. But I want us to talk about some of the things that make us happy or some of the successes. So who would like to start with that? Well, Dr. Shantae just told us her success story, so that's very nice. If we can get somebody to share, even if
Katie.
it's yourself, but clients that have shown some success, personal success, because everybody's success is different. So know that and share some of those things with us to help us be able to move forward to another day with this because it gets very challenging.
Katie.
Yeah, hi, my name is Katie. From Escanaba. I manage the Hosanna House, which is a women's recovery house for Catholic Social Services in Escanaba, Michigan. I think I might already said that part. Anyway, today I feel like I had a great success where where I didn't think I was going to. Had Let me just shut this door real quick, an extra door. Okay, got the it's a wooden, like it's old wooden house, so it echoes in here. But had a resident that was dead set on leaving. I had called her out about not doing some chores, and she just got very upset about it. And I knew it had nothing to do with the chore, right? And I knew, I wasn't the enemy. I think she was just looking for a reason to leave, to run, to not embrace this process and the gift that that is this recovery house. I was a resident of this house for 9.5 months in the past. I am now the manager of it. So I am living proof that God is good. So I had a very good talk with her and I completely changed her mind. And she's now staying. And it was just like one of the moments I'll probably always remember because we were both in tears. And I'm just like, a lot of these women, they don't feel like they can be loved. They don't feel lovable. And there's trust issues. They don't believe that someone else could really love them and care about them and want to see them do good. And I ask God every morning to just, if you could just let them see just a little bit of you and me today. That's sorry. That's all I
A
can
lot of
ask for.
a lot of residents have it. They don't feel worthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was just I felt like a huge win. Not just and it wasn't my win, right? It was her win.
Yeah.
And it's all about stacking just some little wins, you know. So yeah, that was just something I wanted to share because uh it was good.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? And thank you for taking the time. Thank you for taking the time and the effort to talk to somebody and let them know, hey, it's worth it versus just in being there. You know, I mean, there has to be a presence. I mean, nobody was there. They just packed their bags and go. And, you know,
yeah, no, she told me she had her bags packed and I was here in 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, went and sat down with her and it was just I just think it's all, it's all based in fear, right? And
Yeah.
showing them hope can, just kind of like lessen that fear a little bit. You can only think of one thing at a time. So let's focus on hope. Let's focus on what we're grateful for. Because then let's just focus on today. Let's not worry about 2 weeks from now when your rent is due. That's then, this is now. The peace is found in the here and now. So, yeah. So, anyway, thank you.
don't stress about things we have no control over. And try to
Serenity prayer,
let
serenity
that go.
prayer.
Thank you. Anybody else have a success story they want to share? Success looks very different from one individual to the next, and it can be very small and it can be something huge as well. So
I have
Share one.
multiple success stories. One is one of the clients that we had a little over 10 years ago, 12 years ago. She is now our CEO of our agency.
Yeah.
So, and she worked in multiple different settings leading up to the CEO position, and watching her journey and how she came in and out of our recovery housing. It wasn't her first time that she made it. I have multiple staff who have started in our transitional housing and are now employed with us, and they help other people give back and work with them, and being able to watch them go, because I'm getting older than I want to realize. When I watch them go from client to coworker, that's probably one of the most rewarding things that you can have, because it is hard. There's a lot of relapses. There's a lot of, deaths throughout the year. There's a lot of despair. There's a lot of regression and frustration. And when you do get that 2 success stories out of the year, those are the ones that you have to hang on and be like, oh yeah, okay, this is exactly why I do this, because we just helped somebody become productive and they're helping their family and their friends. And so the success stories that I have is, it's never when they're in transitional, it's once they leave transitional and now they're their own beings without us.
Thank you, Kim.
Well, my success story is all wins are big wins in my eyes, even how small they are. And today has really been great conversation. But one of the ladies, we have daily affirmations at 7 a.m., right? And if on the weekends it's 8:30, so we don't have to get up so early. But when she first came to the home, she was kind of apprehensive about things that she had to do, as far as getting a PRC and a mentor and doing the 30 days AA meetings. Um, she just was like, "Oh, this is a lot. Can I really, really do it?"
Yeah.
But after I think it's been about day 40 now. She's been there. She's been over a month. She came on February the 30th, I think it was. I mean, not February 30th, January the 30th. But she told me that the morning affirmations really help set her tones for the day. We start off saying how grateful we are, And we may not have everything that we want, but we're not where we were yesterday.
Yeah.
And she would be apprehensive in the beginning about well, how am I and mine is self-pay when they can pay. I let them come free, but they come with the expectations that they do have to get a job, right? So in her mind, she kept saying, "How am I going to pay rent?" And I'm like, "Well, we ain't gonna worry about tomorrow or 2 days. Let's stay focused on today." So I had to reel it back into today several times in the beginning, but it just made me feel so good when she said that the daily affirmations in the morning actually help her and they set her tone for the rest of the day. Like she'll say, "I'm gonna be productive today. Or I'm gonna stay focused today. I'm grateful for waking up this morning." So that was just a small win, but it made me feel so good that what I'm doing is in the right place and it is helping somebody.
And you can tell her that she's not paying rent, she's paying program fees.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
Take
Yep.
that word right out of your vocabulary. No rent, no lease. Yeah, it's program fees.
Program fees.
Relevance.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
I remember you telling me that.
I'm gonna embed it in your head when it
Uh-huh.
no, but thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And for the residents that live in our homes, day by day is a success story for them individually, probably, right? Well, the fact that I got up today and I didn't grab a beer, I
Yeah.
actually took a shower, I went to a meeting, and I went to work. That's success.
That is.
So it's a day-to-day thing. A
Yeah.
day-to-day
Day
thing.
to day. I agree.
Who else? Anybody else? I'm gonna start off.
Christy Johnson. I like to call names when they're not showing their videos. Christy,
Yeah.
do you have a success story you want to share?
Well, Christy's not there.
No,
Okay.
it's a fake account. Okay. How
Okay.
about Jason DeBeck? Got another success story for us, Jason? You're
Nope.
muted.
Oh,
There you
there's
go.
Jason.
Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Good. You gave us the last one the last time, which got us here. So
Yeah.
I like that. They licked the knife and
I I was just thinking back to a guy that he was one of our first guys in the house, and he stayed with us for about just over a year and moved out, got an apartment here in Boyne City, and it was summertime and he was riding his bike. He had saved up his money and he liked to ride 10 speeds. He liked to road ride, and he'd saved and didn't have a car, had a license but didn't want to buy a car because it was just cheaper to get around on a bike. And the guy is driving or riding his bike downtown Boyne City around 4th of July, and a car pulled out in front of him, and he hit the car, put his arm through the windshield of the car, and was messed up. Now this guy goes through multiple surgeries. Not and the I guess the good thing was is that he knew he was a drug addict in recovery, and he refused, medication
good.
afterwards. Like obviously they gave him what they gave him while in surgery and in the hospital, but when they sent him home to do his PT and everything, he refused all medication that were narcotic. He took ibuprofen, but um, and to see this kid, his family they were from the around the Kalamazoo area, and he had 4 children. He was rekindling the relationship back with them, and to see them kind of uh, come back around to him to be there for his recovery physically after the surgeries and all that. That was quite a bright spot for us. Today, he is still involved in our community. He was at one time he was the business director for the downtown business development here in Boyne City, and he's now the marketing director for Treetops Resorts. So
Wow,
um,
nice.
Yeah, I mean, the guy literally burned his life down to the ground when
Yeah.
he came to us. He was facing criminal charges. He was facing, he was completely bankrupt financially, spiritually, emotionally. And, to see him go through, build back his recovery, build back his time with his family, get his children back in his life, but then also go through that accident and to recover from that without, having to pick up a drink or a drug over it was
Yeah.
pretty astounding. And he currently, he sponsors men in our house. He's also referred, which was a really cool experience is when he started to refer guys to our house, because he was working with guys in the community. He currently has a guy sitting in the Otsego County Jail. And when that guy gets out, he will be coming to our house. So,
Oh,
um,
Nice.
and I have a lot of guys like that. Especially a lot of the guys that first came to the house back when we opened up in 2017 that are still in the community, that are, still involved in the recovery community and that are now, referring guys to our house. So we're really lucky in that sense.
yes.
So,
Very nice.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Very good.
Whole host of other great things that have
Yeah.
happened. I
Yeah.
mean, those are just the ones that pops in my mind.
Yep.
But on a daily basis, if a guy can learn how to trust God, clean house, and help others,
Yes.
it's a
Yep.
good day.
That's right. Yep.
So,
I have one that um it was probably almost 20 years ago now. I got a call from one of our recovery homes at like 12:30 at night. And now generally back then, years ago, they had keys to the houses, right? You didn't have key locks or any of that stuff. None of that was in existence. Um, and generally you would know if somebody would call one of the house managers and say, so and so is getting ready to leave. If that person had been a big problem, you'd say, get the keys, make sure you get the keys, and make sure that they take their stuff with them. Then there's those who have been working their butts off and it's just a bad night and they just think they want to use and they really don't and they're ready to. So I got up out of bed and I took my kids over there and she had a little backpack on, not all of her clothes, and she was ready to go. She said, I just want to go see my dad. I just want to go see my dad. And I said, no, you don't want to just go see your dad. You want to go use. Now, we're not going to let you do that because we love you. I told the women, everybody bring out your mattresses, your sleeping bags, bring them down to the living room. We're making a huge thing of popcorn and we're all going to watch movies all night. And we're just going to support her through this night. And today she has 20 years in recovery and she works for a senator in another state. And she has had just a beautiful, wonderful life. She met the man of her dreams and they're happily married and wonderful outcome. But if we had let her leave that night, it may not have been the outcome that we would have liked. I love what I don't remember which one said that they went over. Oh, it was who was the one we talked to? Katie. It was Katie when she said she went over there right away and talked to him. I think that's so important that if we have somebody on the verge like that, that we're there for them if we can be at that given moment, because sometimes that's the difference between life and death. Sometimes that's the difference between not using or using. Sometimes the difference is just letting somebody know that you care about them enough to get out of bed at 12:30 at night and come be with them. So I think that's really important. And that was one of the most, every time she comes to the state, every summer she calls me and we meet and we have lunch. I mean, she's just such a wonderful person. And I just am honored to even know her and have shared in her story. So I think that's one of the things that kept me coming back as well.
Thank you. That's great.
Well, then there's a time I chased one down. We won't talk about that, okay?
No, talk about it. Talk about it.
We won't talk about that. I did catch her though.
What happened?
I brought her back, but you know what? I brought her back. That story doesn't end up good. So, some years later, she died of an overdose behind a building. So those are
Could have been that night though.
it could have been that night and it wasn't
Yeah.
that night. So,
So that was a success.
yeah, that was a success. But, yeah, we do have those, but this is why we're doing successes and not those terrible stories because we all have those, right? Anybody else?
I'll talk now. I was here the whole time. I couldn't get my speaker to work. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So my biggest success story has been I had a girl come in and she did not want to be here. She was court ordered. She wouldn't get involved in the community. She was just really angry. So we sat down together and made support calls, and now she's like a pillar of the community. She's helping other women. She's got her kids back. It's so rewarding to see someone turn around like that.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest one.
Yeah. Yep. She out of recovery housing now?
Yeah. She moved out on her own, met a man of her dreams, got her
Mm-hmm.
kids. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing when you see
Good.
that happen.
That's very
And just
nice.
something so small as sitting down and making phone calls with her. Like
Yeah.
that was the game
Yeah.
changer.
Yep. Absolutely.
So simple.
Yeah.
But you know, there's
that's
a
all I
lot
have.
of people that come through our doors, they need that hands-on. So just they don't know how to take that first step. They don't know how to even fill out an application. How do I do a resume? I've never done it before. We tell them, go out and find a job. Well, you know, we used to do little mock interviews. I used to also get like a packet of applications, like at Office Max, and I would have like a group. And I'd say, okay, I'd put a bunch of different colored pens on the table and I'd give everybody an application. Just say, okay, everybody grab a pen and write an application. I had them turn it into me. You could see how, I mean, was it even legible? Did they grab a writing pen? I mean, just it was such a teaching time. And I sat with the individual on a one-on-one basis and went over their application. And you help them create an application that they can fold up and put in their pocket. So when they do go to the library or whatever to put in an application for a job, they have everything in writing right there in their mock application that you help them with. And it helps them to move forward and to get a job. You know, help them, you know, well, how would you do an interview? You know, do little mock interviews with people. There's all these different things that we take for granted, but there's a lot of people that don't know how to do the simplest things. And we want them to get a job. Well, how do they do that? You know, they got to follow through too. Maybe a week later, go up and ask for, can I speak with a manager? You know, introduce yourself and hi, I'm so and so. Do eye to eye contact. I'm so and so. I put an application in last week. I just wanted to follow up. Look forward to working. You know, just all these little things that you know we would do and we think about. They might not even think about anything like that. But so recovery residences, there's so many different things that we can do to help them and to teach them, so they can be their own success.
It's so very hard. We had a woman one time. This is just an example on how difficult boundaries are for them. Just learning how to engage with people. She was getting her children's birth certificates and she went up to the department in downtown Ann Arbor, and she shared this whole story with us in group some months later. But she went there to get the birth certificate for her kids. And she didn't have custody of her kids, but she needed to get those. And long story, and she goes up to the counter and she says, my name is so-and-so. I'm trying to get the birth certificate for my kids. And I don't have my kids right now. They're in a foster care. Well, it's not a foster care. She's staying with one of my family members, but I guess it is foster care. And I'm going to get them back, but I'm living in housing, recovery housing right now. And I'll be here for about 16 to 18 months. And hopefully when I go to court, I'll be able to get them in. The lady looked at her and said, honey, I just need your ID. So you see, we give all of our life story to somebody and all they want is one simple thing for us, but we're willing to pour out everything about because we just want to be heard for something, you know, and so many, I find this a lot with women, so many of the women really have the most difficult time with this. And it's because women need people. We need people in our lives. They don't love women, but they love to be loved by women. And we have to teach them how, yes, we have to teach them how to get that and the right way.
I have to leave, everybody. So thank you so much for everything. I love these meetings.
For sharing.
Oh, absolutely. I'll see you guys next month. Take care. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
What's the next thing on our agenda, you guys? I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
Think we were going to talk about if we had some discussion about with the season coming around, you guys are probably are going to be outside a lot more. Your members are going to be outside a lot more, and it's time to do yard work. And I thought it would be nice to talk about domain 4, which is good neighbor domain, and how do you spread the message with the people in your recovery homes on how to be a good neighbor? And that's policies, I think is J 3031. And how do you implement this policy? Anybody?
I do simple things with the clients, like when they're catching the bus and walking through the neighborhood, if they see some trash, ask them if they can just pick it up. I don't care if it's a cigarette, but or a wrapper, just if you see something, on your way home, just pick it up and throw it away. Um, or if you're doing yard work and there's not a fence between the neighbors, going that extra mile and just, picking up on, the side, like if there's, again, no offense, I don't want them in their yard, but, pick up that area if it's, available and accessible to them. And making sure that their stuff is clean. So when they look at our facilities or our places, that they're not judging us, but that these people are living here, they're non-threats, they're willing to, hey, do you need help putting those groceries up? Or do you need me to carry this or close this door for you? Or I see you picking up trash on the side of the road on your way home. So those are some of the little things.
Yeah, that's good. Anybody else? Does anybody do this domain with your residents?
Well,
Yeah,
I wanted,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I insist. You go.
Okay. Well, the city of Detroit, in the next couple of weeks is holding what's called a community cleanup opportunity. And so I watch out for opportunities like that. And I register my agency and I'll bring volunteers with me to clean up the neighborhood. So maybe just watching out for some kind of events or opportunities for your recovery residents to join in some city or county event as it relates to helping others or helping, to clean up the community.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really good to have those extra things. Thank you very much, Kayla.
I
To
thought this
have
was up
those.
the whole time, so my bad.
Oh, I'm
It
sorry. I
wasn't
didn't.
being shared.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that I found really helpful. I mean, this is a great domain. I mean, in order to make sure that we do this at the place I ran, we put it in the agenda. Now we all have to have meetings with our residents, right? So how many of you have like once a week meeting with all your residents or twice a week and I put together an agenda for those meetings that had a lot of these policies in it to make sure that we made those policies and implemented those policies. So this one in particular is on an agenda where we talk about I think every other month they talk about, or maybe it's every quarter, they talk about what is it to be a good neighbor and how do you be a good neighbor. So it's your music. We got to keep your music down. You don't want to have your windows open and blast out your music. You don't want to have a bunch of people out on the front porch at one time smoking and have smoke go towards the neighbors. You don't want, I mean, there's just things that if you do see a neighbor and you see an older person who's carrying some bag, do you want me to help? They may say no, but at least you're asking and you're being polite. I mean, it's really about being courtesy and keep your property clean. And so that's on the agenda for us. The other thing we put on the agenda is to make sure that we're giving them flyers at every meeting so that they know everything that's going on in the community and they're invited to the dances or to or to some of the picnics that they're having in the community that's recovery focused. And just so so we're keeping them involved within the community. So what are some of the things that you guys do to make sure that these policies are implemented? Anybody else?
That actually used to be part of our intake packet. So we would have a good neighbor policy that we would actually review with the individual when they were coming in to the residents and viewed in detail and elaborated on a lot of that stuff because it's really important. And that's another huge part of the stigma attached to recovery home. I mean, people don't want to know that there's a recovery home moving in next door, but if they say, wow, I don't even know they're there. They're so polite, or I couldn't mow my lawn the other day and they just came over and mowed my lawn for me. Or Kevin and I used to do that. We just, there was a place in Grand Rapids, a particular home, and 3 doors down on the other side, this old lady lived there by herself. We knew she lived there by herself. Her yard was like hardly ever done. And went over there one time. The guy was mowing the lawn, and I'm like, hey, when you're done, I want you to go over there and mow her lawn. And she was so happy. She came over and brought cookies to the guys, thanked them. They were, every week when they mowed the lawn, they went right over there and just did the neighbor's lawn too. Just a way to give back, And I like what Demira said too about picking up the trash. There's so many different things you can help your neighborhood and be a good neighbor. Take a trash bag and on the way to the bus stop, pick up the trash. Doesn't matter if it's not in your yard. All these little things make a big difference.
It's called social graces. I mean, social graces are important to me. I mean, and they were always to my kids. If you see a hanger in a store that's laying on the floor with a garment, pick it up and hang it up. I mean, just certain things that's what I want our residents to know are some of the social graces out there that we never really paid much attention to when we were out there using. I mean, I didn't, let me just put it that way. And then when I got into recovery, I started to recognize how important it was that I be a part of that. And I really want the people that live in recovery housing to learn how to be a part of those social graces and a part of a community. But as we're sitting here talking, I'm wondering, so I want to go back to, we got a couple of people on here that we haven't heard from. Oops, I lost us. So Carl Williams, you there?
Did Jason ever share?
Jason didn't share on this one. There's W Slat too. He hasn't. Or she.
Wally.
That was Wally.
Come on, Wally.
Well, I can speak.
Not Slat. You're not Slat. Oh, there's Carl.
I can speak. Sometimes I speak too much, but that's okay. Yeah, I was sitting here. I was sitting here looking at this, and one of the things that stuck out to me was sometimes the small things maybe we just don't pay attention to. That there's a group of about 10 of us that we try to go out to dinner one night a week someplace, and it's really pretty cool. We enjoy it, but there's one guy, one friend of ours, and his language is terrible. I mean, he just cusses up a storm and says things and he has a loud voice. We're always saying, Mark, tone it down, and I know it offends people. And that's what made me think, I know it offends others, especially like if there's a family and there were kids or something, or even just people that are offended by, you know what I mean? And he doesn't realize how loud
Yes, I know what you mean, Wally. Yes, I know what you mean.
he doesn't. I was looking to see if you had your finger pointed at me or something.
No. Point at Miss D. Go ahead.
But he won't stop, he won't stop. He just doesn't pay attention to it, and it doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
social
everybody kind of
graces.
cringes when he starts talking because he is so loud, the people are hearing it. And he's like part of our group at the same, got a big round table or something that we'll sit at, so stuff like that, and people need to be aware of too. I mean, it's some things like that. And then when you look at even smoking, I mean, smoking is real offensive to some people. And we need to be.
You're right. If they're using foul language on the front porch and you got neighbors on each side, that's not really.
Yep.
Not really very gracious, is it?
No, it's
Jason,
really
how do you implement these policies?
We implement them through the beginning when they fill out the responsibilities and expectations.
You're muted.
So, one thing that I forgot to mention, especially for this Be a Good Neighbor, before we were a part of MAR, I think it had to have been when I was running recovery housing, probably about 10 years ago now. I had a client who we got the neighbor's package. And when I was doing room checks, guess what I found? The neighbor's package opened.
Oh boy.
And I was like, what is this? I'm like, I like looked at the address. I'm like, clearly it was the next door neighbors. And I was like, dude, you need to go take this back and you need to apologize. And he's like, no, I don't want to look like a thief. I'm like, but you are a thief. At this very moment, you are a thief. And he was like, well, I don't want all of us to look bad and this is going to put stigma on us. And I'm
Good
like,
point.
I was like, look, you have to come on, you have to get honest. You're going to have to tell them that, you're extremely sorry that this will not happen again. I can stand in the background if you would like. And he was just really nervous. And finally he tried to tell me, he was like, I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, well, your option is to be discharged at this point, because if you're going to steal and you're in this house, I can't have that. And he was like, no, 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 no. He's like, I can't go. He's like, okay, I'll go apologize. So he went down to the neighbor's house, and knocked on the door, and they were actually there because it was the middle of the day. So they actually there. And he got flush red and he's like, I took your package. It's open. I'm extremely sorry. Everything's in here. And they were like, what? And he was like, do you want me to mow your lawn? And so he ended up doing the right thing. But I think sometimes we forget, even being a good neighbor and part of the domain is respecting other people's spaces and not picking up these boxes, because there's oftentimes that Amazon will deliver to the wrong house.
Mhm.
Now, he didn't go to their house and take that. They delivered it to our house.
Mhm.
And he just took it upon himself to go upstairs. He did get a behavioral contract for it. However, I did not discharge him, and he did mow that lawn for free. That was his idea, not mine.
Yeah.
Demira, were you there with him when he went to the neighbors? Or he
Yes.
just told you? Oh, okay. I was gonna say,
Yep.
because otherwise he might have said, I'm sorry, Demira opened your package. Yeah, she probably blamed you instead. So I just wanted to share that.
No, I did try to be inconspicuous though. So I was just like, I smoke cigarettes. So I was standing in the front yard smoking a cigarette, just trying to like be there for moral support if he decided that he needed me to come over and be like, hey, if things went south. But he ended up doing really good. So that's actually, now when I talk about like good neighbor domain, I do tell all my clients, like, make sure if you get a package at our house and it's not yours, you give it back. You let them know, or you put it at the house that it's supposed to go to. Because that's something that Amazon and FedEx and whatever, they all mess up on that.
So you do mean residents, not clients, correct?
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I've been working at a residential facility lately, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
Every time I hear that, I want to like correct somebody, but it's
Yeah.
like
I got you. I got you,
don't-
Catherine.
I don't want to beat a dead horse. Jason, you muted yourself by mistake. You said
He
you wanted
wasn't
to finish
he wasn't
your
muted.
story?
He just cut out.
Oh.
You're
Okay.
muted now.
Can we hear you?
How about, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I hear you.
Ah, there
Oh
you go.
gosh, I've had to have it muted. We have our dogs in the office today, and they're
Oh,
so
wonderful.
rambunctious. So, the thing that we do is when the guests come to the home, we have them review the responsibilities and expectations. on that, there's a portion in there on how to interact with the neighbors, like introduce yourself, be friendly. There's even a portion in there on how to answer the telephone, because a lot of us, when we come from treatment, we typically come from isolation. And so getting back into neighbors and dealing with neighbors is sometimes difficult and foreign. So we do a lot of things for our neighbors, primarily because when we first started out, they were not too excited to have us in the neighborhood. So I think we went above and beyond. Especially there was this one older lady living next to our first house. She was single woman. She came from California, and she was vehemently against us having a recovery house living next to her. And so we made sure to go out of our way. Like when we were picking up the leaves in our yard, I would have the guys blow out the leaves in her yard, and we would just take the leaves for her. It got to be, she started trusting us a little bit more and more. About 2 years later, I had a conversation with her, and she let me know that the reason she was so against us being there is because when she was living in California, she was sexually assaulted by some men. So that made a lot of sense as to why she would feel the
Yeah.
apprehension to having us there. Now she loves us. She loves our guys. Every time there's a Super Bowl or a big sporting event, she makes cookies and brings them over to the guys. She's always willing to take care of them. We've done that with all of our neighbors. We have a lot of the neighbors around our houses are retirees, so we make sure to take care of them. This last ice storm that we had, a lot of trees fell down, so our guys were out there helping, taking the tops to the
Awesome.
curb and making sure, checking on them. When the power went out, checking on them, make sure that they were okay. Just to build the rapport with the community, because it's so important in our small little town that we have a great relationship with our neighbors. So much so, we have a neighbor next to one of our houses who he decided to tear down his old home and build a brand new home. Probably made like maybe a $500,000 or $600,000 investment in his property to stay next to us instead of selling it and moving away. So, in that regard, you got to go out of your way to talk with your neighbors, to make sure that they understand that, hey, if there's something wrong, you can approach me. Here's my phone number. Here's the house manager's phone number. If there are
Yeah.
any guests acting inappropriately, please let us know. Explaining to them, a lot of these guys come from dysfunctional homes and dysfunctional backgrounds, and they're just getting used to living in a neighborhood. And if you're upfront and honest, they respect that. And more times than not, whenever they need a hand, they're always willing to call us, and we're always willing to help.
Gee, you make me want to come build a house next door to you guys over
Come
there.
to Boyne City, I'm telling you, it's booming.
Beautiful, beautiful little town. Really.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And they take care of you. I
We
like it.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. All right, anybody else? JVT.
That's Jeff.
That's Jeff.
Jeff.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us a success story, Jeff.
I've never run a recovery residence, but I can
But you
share with
lived in
my
one for a
own.
while. You
I
lived
can
in one
share
for a
with you
while.
my own success story. Yeah,
Yeah.
I grew up about 5 miles from Boyne City, Michigan.
Hmm?
So I know everything that Jason is doing there, getting in trouble. And started practicing law up in northern Michigan, and then worked for a venture capital company out of Florida, and then almost died in a car accident caused by way too much benzodiazepines. And after about 2 years of being kind of flat in my back, in various hospital rooms and various recovery rooms, found my way to a meeting in Holland, Michigan, and saw Randy Brower and Keith Walters, who run Building Men for Life there. And they suggested that I might benefit from a stay in a recovery residence. And boy, were they right. So after about a year, I figured out I can't do this anymore and got a little bit better and got involved with Catherine's former husband, Kevin O'Hare, and started talking to people at NAR and thinking I could probably help because on the NAR board, it's all a bunch of people like you. Everybody's really helpful, but they don't have very many lawyers. And so I'm the only lawyer on the NAR board, which is good and bad. Anyway,
It's good.
yeah, it's been wonderful here working with a group of people that run recovery residences here in Michigan. And you all deserve a good pat on the back. One of the things that I'll finish with because I'm getting boring maybe myself, which is out of the Office of Drug Control last Friday after the Thursday stop work order. On Friday, out came from the federal government. There are 6 points that the administration is going to try to deal with for substance use disorder. And the first 4 were basically shutting fentanyl off at the southern border. But the last 2 points were, and we've never been on this level of being mentioned, was recovery and for peer recovery community organizations and recovery residences. So, and then the 6th point was doing research on recovery. And so I see it as an opportunity. I see it as a movement that's been seriously underfunded, under-researched. It works. Now that we've got evidence that shows, here's the Fletcher Group that says for every dollar you put into recovery services, you get $64 back. We've got training for people to run and operate recovery residents and recovery community organizations according to the social model of recovery, which really works. And we've got a great relationship with David Bess. Dr. Bess has the RECCAP model. And so science is invading our space. The rest of the country has figured out, gee, you guys are doing something right. Maybe we should fund you. So if everybody can hold together for the next 6 months to 2 years, and I think that's probably going to be the sweet spot, I see some funding to reward everybody's success. So all I need for you guys is just keep working. Don't get paid any money for 6 months to 2 years, but eventually you might see some money down at the end of the line.
You know what? We're fairly confident things are going to be okay. I mean, there's a little hiccup right now, and it's not the first time it's happened, but we're all going to be okay. Just stay the course, and we're going to be good. Funding will be there, but again, look for other sources as well, so that you have something as a backup. Carl Williams, Carl, you only have a few minutes left. Do you want to share a success story? Second chance. There he is.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Carl.
Carol?
I'm sure you have a lot of success stories. What's a good one that you can share for the end of the meeting?
Okay, let me think. There's a gentleman that came through my program. His name is Leroy. This guy came in, hit the ground running. He was very meticulous. He kept the house spotless, so I immediately made him a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So when he came to us, he was currently employed, and he let his job know that he was going to get some help. Went through the treatment process and was referred to us. Came right in, took the leadership responsibility, went back to work. And the blessing was that his job was like walking distance from this home. It was a perfect fit for him. And this employee that he has, I mean, just bent over backwards for this guy, which he's that kind of guy. You would go the extra mile. He could cook his butt off. And just a fun-loving guy, brought some great energy to the organization. we were able to do a video as one of our success stories. I did a video that we will be posting on our site and using it for marketing purposes as well. He has transitioned. We did the filming of him at the site where he started. We went and filmed him at his new apartment, his furniture and everything that he had purchased and saved his money. I mean, he was the star player of our program that let us know that we're doing a good job and the mechanisms that we have in place are really working. And he's gainfully employed. He left there. He's got another job in the factory. He's about to get a new car. And I'm just so excited about this gentleman. And he always comes back when because we have game nights at the house and we go bowling and we go to sober events and he'll come to those and support because I encourage all of our guys in our program to come back and be an alum. I'm building an alumni for our organization.
Yeah.
And he's one of the people that comes back and we play dominoes and spades and we go bowling. He comes and participates with us and gives the guys hope and let them know that he was in their position and stay strong and follow the rules and you'll be just fine. So that's that's one of many success stories, but that's my shining star so far.
Very nice.
Thank you for letting me share.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for sharing. Anybody else have anything?
Let me share one last thing before we leave.
Okay.
During last Friday's Zoom meeting with the NAR team, they like this idea of having the lessons learned. And so to that end, there's probably going to be a panel presentation on how do you operate, how do you do things in the real world. There'll be various NAR people in there, and I believe that Glennis Anderson from MAR will be one of the presenters at that breakout session. And my thought at the end of the day is maybe within the next 12 months or so, we could come up with, here's a little how to run a recovery residence for dummies.
Yeah.
Somebody related to the dummies part?
Well, only me, I guess.
I know my audience, Glennis. So anyway.
Only me. Yep.
So it's like this makes a lot of sense. Thank everybody for what you're doing. This is going to be continuing, and we hopefully have some type of end product at the end of the day where it's in writing, which I might need to get everybody's consent to put your names in the thing and waive any copyright claims you might have to your wonderful ideas. But anyway, so that's the ending thought of the day.
And in the meantime, it's out recorded. So, yeah. So remember, if you can't make it the meetings, the lessons learned isn't a mandatory one, but what a lot of information, what a lot of great communication we've got going in this meeting.
We've got all the experts here.
Yeah. All the experts, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So good job. Yes, doctor.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. Mr. Jeff Ventries, I just think that is phenomenal that one of the priorities is for research, because that is how you figure out what works and what's the outcomes. Like Glennis was saying, my hopes is that I'll be able to be a part of it when you all are putting together or designing what kind of research you want to do. My thoughts was when Glennis mentioned about comparing how long people should stay. I think that would be a good research to look at, like, comparing the different recovery residents. If someone stays 3 months to 6 months to 1 year to 1.5 years to 2 years, maybe, creating a study around that, just looking at what the outcomes are. Yeah.
And RECAP
just my
is
thoughts.
the study that's going on. So
Okay.
it's scientific data that's being kept track of, and so when you have your home up and running, it will have you part of RECAP, so you can be part of that.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
See everybody.
So much, everybody.
Happy April.
Bye-bye.